In this episode of Reddit Responds, we ask Reddit the following question. What valuable items did your parents throw away?
I had the complete collection of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figures. I packed them into a box and put them away. Then later when looking for them I couldn't find them. Asked my mother. Oh those, I threw them out. You weren't playing with them anymore.
That's when you throw out the guest towels and fine china. You weren't using them.
You never use them, would be my case.
Is it the same story everywhere? My mother has a showcase of fine china and other fine crockery. But I've never ever seen her use them in my 23 years of life. According to her, they're for guests. What guests?
Nearly all of the first 24 editions of virtually every Marvel series. From the Fantastic Four to Spider-Man. Including the Amazing Tales in which he was introduced. To Iron Man. The Hulk. Thor. Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos. Basically all of them. At a comic book store I was once looking at some collector's editions of those comics. Priced at about $1,500 to $2,400. I said to the clerk, "Man, I used to have all of these." The clerk, whom I'm sure was Matt Groening's model for Comic Book Man, without even looking up, said in a bored voice, "Do you know how many times a day I hear that?"
My mom had a collection of signed Beatles records that she threw away after she converted to Christianity. Because played backwards they summoned the devil or something. For years I was hoping to inherit it when I grew up. All I think it summoned was poverty.
I met a lady who was a flight attendant on the first flight back to the UK from the US. They signed magazines for all the flight attendants. She had it appraised about 20 years ago. And it was worth $10,000.
Not any monetary value. But my dad got rid of my entire Lego collection when I was in the Navy. My sister is pregnant with her first child, and mentioned she wished we still had my enormous Lego collection for him. It may not have been worth a fortune, but it meant something to us.
Lego is the one thing people throw or give away and I don't get it. It's such a great toy for future grandchildren and doesn't break.
About 40 Indian arrowheads. Collected on my grandparents' farm for years by myself and my grandfather. And full sets of baseball cards from 1969 to 1980. My mom decided to toss out all that junk when I moved out for military.
I don't understand the instinct to do that. Put it in a box and shove it in a closet.
That's where the stuff was. In a box. In a closet. Mom, God bless her, decided to turn my room into a guest room. And thought that box was just junk.
I had over 1,500 Pokémon cards. And I gave them to my little cousin. Because he had a short-lived Pokémon phase. And now I'm wondering how much it was really worth.
Not a lot. I've checked prices on mine. Only some of the first generation ones are really valuable. And those are highly dependent on condition.
My G.I. Joes. Transformers and He-Men. Plus a bunch of Star Wars stuff. I don't know if they would be worth a fortune. But it wouldn't be small potatoes.
I still have my He-Man action figures. And a bunch of the vehicles. Not surprisingly. If you don't have all the weapons, armor, or pieces of each item, they are not worth much.
I had a buddy who tried to sell his Star Wars toys. The guy came to his house, told him he didn't have anything worth buying, and left. Only after did my friend realize he'd stolen all the weapons and other little accessories.
Magic the Gathering cards. That Black Lotus. And pretty much a lot of banned cards would be gold by now.
I started in '94. My collection in the early 2000s wasn't bad. Plenty of beta and revised duels. Some P9 in good shape. And plenty of stuff from the early years. I left for basic training and my parents moved. Then moved again. I come back about a year later. And start going through my stuff. To see what I wanted to bring with me to my duty station. And what I wanted to throw away. I asked my mom about my cards. And she said she gave them to someone. For the kid to play with. It's not the potential price of those cards that's upsetting. It's how hard it would be to try to recreate even a portion of that collection. I play Legacy, so I've got duels. But I'm not getting a Lotus ever again.
I was just telling someone who quit playing in '96 that if they had not bought a car that year, and had bought 10 Black Lotuses with that money instead, they would be able to afford a full-sized home in Texas or Arizona.
Approximately 20 kilograms of Lego bricks and accessories. The Blue Railway alone would be a fortune today. My mother gave them away and couldn't remember to whom. Technically a felony.
You can't keep holding it against your mom. You have to eventually Lego.
Lots of Nintendo stuff. Basically thrown away when they took it to Goodwill.
Is Nintendo stuff worth anything? I checked a few years back and didn't think it was.
Depends on the stuff. As time goes on, it will be worth more. That said, in the early 2000s, you could buy most common Nintendo games for like $2. Now you'll be lucky to find a game for $15. As the stock thins out over time, they'll get more collectible. I really think NES carts are the baseball cards of this era.
The original Transformers in boxes. Had all main characters and nearly all of the smaller bots. Got them when I was 12 or so in the mid-80s. Left for the military and mom had a huge garage sale.
I feel like leaving for basic training. Is how most old toys collectibles end up back in the secondary market. Most people I know in the army have a story of one of their family members getting rid of something when they were gone. One of the guys in my platoon in basic had his parents sell a Mustang he had restored for almost nothing.
That is appalling.
Stamps. When I was around 7, I used to stay at this friend of my parents' house. She was older and sort of a substitute grandmother. Her mother lived with her. She used to collect stamps. When she passed away, the subby gran gave me the collection. My oldest brother had him in his room. I can't remember why. My parents used to make a big pile in the middle of our rooms of what was messy, and we had a couple of hours to put it all away. My brother faffed about and didn't do it. So the remaining pile was thrown out. In that pile was the collection of stamps. To this day, I believe that there would have been valuable stamps in that collection, considering the age of the collection. But I'll never know.
Alright people. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel, so you don't miss out on future videos like this one.